Okay, so as you can see, it's nighttime. It's been a few hours. I actually have stuff to do, but I try to make these videos when I can. But continuing from where we left off here, so I've gone back in and sort of painted back in some of that chipped away paint. It was just a little, it was overdone. It was too much. So that's one of the things you want to do. Don't just slap a generator on there and call it good. You want to take the time to make it a little bit better. So I put back most of that. I don't want the gun to be too damaged. I mean, I want it to be worn a little bit, but I don't want it to look like it was dragged down a concrete road for days. So I don't need to scratch off all the paint. So I have, paint chipped away in this sort of strategic areas. And that should be enough on these corners in the front here. I think that looks fine to me. I don't feel like I need more from there. Now I am going to enhance this a little bit more as we go. But just before we get there, this something else that I also did right here in the material itself. If you open up technical parameters, there's a height position. So I had a little trouble getting the height to work before, but using the height position right here, the default is 0.5. So if you increase or decrease this, it's going to either raise up or sink that black layer in, or So what I did was I simply set it to 0.5. It's very sensitive. I had a much higher number. So if I go like 0.6, oops, you can see that it gets kind of ridiculous. Does not look right at all. It's too extreme. And that's just a 0.1 increase. So 0.7, you can see now it just doesn't look good at all. So if we try like a 0.4, still doesn't look very good. So 0.51 is what I found. Now it's hard to see here because again, in the viewport, we're working at 2K. So it's kind of hard to see it very well. So if you got to switch to 4K just to see it, then you can do that. And so that's where I set that. Okay, so we have our paint layer here that we've been working on. I'm just going to get rid of this iron rough layer. So just, where is remove layer? There we go. I'm just going to use the steel. So let's see if we can enhance, the damage a little bit more. So we've got sort of the edge wear looking the way that we want it, but maybe more wear in sort of the non-edge areas. So what I'm going to do is come down here to Smart Masks. And there's different things that we can do here. You got surface rust, you got surface worn, you got scratches. Let's try this. Let's try stains and scratches. All I gotta do is drag it up into the mask here. And again, it's inverted. So if you click on the mask editor and global invert, set that to true, and it'll invert that. Now, obviously, this is kind of ridiculous. Again, I don't really want it to be this damaged. So what we can do here, we have these texture sliders. You see, if I increase this one, it actually decreases the amount. And then there's a texture 2. If I decrease that one, I can even take it down more. You can experiment with any of these parameters here. Global balance, that's just going to decrease it. Now what you'll notice is that the stuff we had on the paint layer is now gone. That's because this mask overrides what's below it, because right now it's set to a blending mode of normal. So if I set this to multiply, you see it brings back some of that old stuff while also adding some of that new stuff. So if I show and hide this, you can see the difference here. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Let me see. So I'm just experimenting right now. I don't know if I like this. So if I don't like that, I can just try a different one. Let's try subtle scratches. So bring that one in there. That one comes with a sharpen. Again, I'm going to set this to multiply, and then it also needs to be inverted. So I'm going to invert it. So you can see what's going on here. If you decrease the wear level, then it won't be so extreme. You can see some spots starting to form right there. We can increase or decrease the grunge level. And again, I don't know if I'm really liking that one, so I'm going to get rid of that one. You have all kinds of masks in here, right? So feel free to play with those and see. So let's try surface rust. Oh, actually, before I do that, I got to remember to get rid of this sharpen. There we go. So surface rust. And again, just invert. Okay, so I'm kind of liking some of these details. And again, I want to set this to multiply so that I get some of the other stuff from the layers below. Then we could, if you increase the texture, you can see what we get. Just sort of tweak these values in here. This one doesn't look like it's doing all that much. Global balance. Okay, and just to see the effect, you can sort of turn it on and off. I think that's pretty subtle. Although on this side, this is crazy over here. This is way too much. So I don't really want. So let's decrease that, and let's decrease this one down a little bit. See, for some reason, it's just really worn away the surface right here. Now I could paint that back, but I think I'm just going to kill this mask. Did I try? I think I did try surface worn. So, let's see what else we got here. Let's try stains surface. Let's try to put that on there. So this is giving us some pretty nice looking detail. We got some scratches going on there. Okay, let's go into the mask builder. Actually, it comes with its own. All right, let's see here. Maybe it doesn't do much. Mask builder right here. Let's drop the level. And you'll notice that there's multiple layers with this one, so you can adjust them individually. So I'm just gonna drop this level down here, go into the grunge layer, and you can see that if you increase your balance, and again I want to set this one to multiply as well, so we're getting more scratches. You can see this one might be a little high. The other thing you could do if you want to reduce it is set your value right here. Take it down quite a bit. It's like an opacity, basically. If you do a lot of Photoshop, it kind of works the same way as the opacity on a layer. So just looking at, so we're getting these very subtle little scratches here, and then this one here is more up here. Now, what it's doing is it's starting to redo all that work I'd done before. So I don't know if I need this one. Let's just look at it. Yeah, it's only doing stuff up there, so I'm gonna kill that one. And this one here, I don't think I need this paint layer. So okay, so we've added just a little bit more subtle damage there. Okay, so yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so and you could just keep adding more as needed. You know, be careful not to overdo things. It's very easy to go a little crazy. Substance does make it easy to do that. So, you know, play with it. Oh, there's one here called Gun Edges. I didn't even see that one. Let's try that one. Just as I said, don't go crazy. But let's see. So I'm gonna go in the mask editor and let's invert this. Yikes. Yeah, that's a little insane, isn't it? So let's go in here, texture 1. So we want that up. We want, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm liking this. And you can see the tiling going on. You can see how this and this are the exact same pattern. Yeah, I don't think I'm liking that one. I don't think I like it, but let's go ahead and set it to multiply. And yeah, it's just too much and it's tiling. And let's see. we can play with the balance down here. Yeah, I don't think I like this one. So, you know, this one seems to have a lot more parameters, so feel free to play with those. I'm just gonna get rid of it and just go with what I got. I like the subtlety of it. It's not over the top. Okay, like I said before, I want the gun to have seen some use, but it's not 50 years of use. So it's got damage, but not too much. Okay, so the way I work is right about this point here is where I want to switch to a different piece. And the reason being is that I want to allow myself some time to sort of sit with this as it is, so that over time, as I keep seeing it, then I start to see what I like and what I don't like. So I tend to not try to finish it completely and call it done. I want to sit with it a little bit as I add the other pieces, see how that's working, see if I like it, make adjustments. Because, you feel one way today, you might feel differently tomorrow. So it's okay to let that sit there for a while as it is. And as you're working around it with the other pieces, maybe, you decide you want to add something or remove something. That's what I like to do. So I'm going to leave it as it is here. And let's see what else we want to do here. Now, I've forgotten what's what. So this is our site here. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we do that, I want to save this metal as a smart material so that I can just apply it to other parts of the gun as needed. So we have our upper layer of steel and our lower layer of steel. I want to package this into a smart material that I can just apply to the other metal parts of the gun. So what I'm going to do is just select both layers, Control G. Okay, that puts them in a folder. And we're going to call this gunmetal. Okay. And then we can right click on here, and where is that? Create smart material. Okay, and then if we come down here to our smart materials in a second, there we go. What did I do? There we go. And we're just going to give it a second to load up here. And gunmetal should be DF. Did I not? Oh, there it is. So there it is right there. It's now been put in there. So let's go find another metal part. That's our barrel. I'm going to hold off on that one. What I want is the receivers, which I can't remember. Oh, there it is. So for some reason my receiver is inverted, meaning that I probably had my normals backward, or actually, you know what it might be is that it's over. There we go. It's on multiple UV tiles, so that's why. Okay, so this is 1014. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, get rid of that default layer and then take my gunmetal and drag it in there and give it a second here. So this is now what we have here. Okay, so it just took basically what we did there and applied it here. Now it's not going to work perfectly because if I open this up and go into steel here in the mask, obviously this paint layer is now invalid. It's based on the UVs of that rail here, and those don't match up with the UVs of this receiver. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of that paint layer, and let me undo that so you can see again here. You can see that we got sort of scratches and whatnot here that don't really line up with anything. So if I get rid of that, that goes away. I could always make a different one. Then if we look at it, you can see those subtle scratches in there. Okay. This here is obviously worn down too much. So between these two, I'm going to add a paint layer. And again, I'm just going to go through and paint down some of this stuff. So let's see, where's my brush? And let's go with there 2 maybe. And let's shrink this down. And what we're going to do, let me see, what am I? Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to start to paint some of this back because that whole thing was worn away. Just start to bring back some of this metal here. Some of this color, I should say. Okay, you can see how this line right here is just perfectly even the whole way. So I'm just going to fill some of that back in. I'm trying to do it kind of randomly so I don't fill it in all the way. And then also here. And let's do this side as well. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to overdo it. Now it is kind of annoying that some of these other faces aren't there, but this is the inner, those are the inner faces of this receiver, of the magazine well here. So it's not too big a deal. It's just one of those things to keep in mind when you're setting up your UVs. So let's see here. Just trying to paint some of this stuff back. If your brush is not doing a lot, you can adjust your flow. So if I go to 100 there, you can see how much it starts to fill in as I go. So I'm just going to fill in a lot of this stuff. You want it to have scratches, but you don't want it to have scratches evenly across everything. That just doesn't look right. And you also got to think about which parts of the gun are likely to be scratched up. Which parts of the gun are likely to bump into stuff when the gun is put down or whatever. That's where you want the most wear. Areas like this are probably not going to see too much wear. So I want to put some of that back. Leave little patches here and there. And then at any time you can hit X, that'll invert it if you do want to add scratches. Now you got to be real careful. It's real hard to get these looking good. So what I like to do is, see here, wrong, here we go. So I like to get my brush real tiny if I'm going to put scratches in. And then drop the flow, because the flow can be a little crazy. And even still, I'm going to drop that flow. And I'm going to press lightly with my brush. And I think my brush is still too big. So let's shrink it down even more. And you could just sort of lightly scratch into the surface. And this is good for doing things like actual scratches like that, right? So keeping that brush small really works well for that. But I'm going to flip it again, and let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's get rid of a little bit more here. And again, I want to set my flow a little bit higher. I'm going to just bring this back. It's overdone here. And this too. Okay. Okay, and the layer system here really works well, so you can just layer on effect after effect, and you can remove them as needed. Okay. Now a lot of these surfaces on the inside here are never going to be seen, so I'm not really going to mess with that. Let's hit X. Let's drop our flow. Let's decrease the brush size. I don't know, I just want to wear some of this away here. Okay, I'm going to flip it back with X and then start to fill it back in a little bit. Okay, so that's just how I do it. Start to fill this back in, increase my flow. Okay. And having a tablet of some kind really helps with this. Doing this with a mouse is just not fun at all. Okay, let's get there. Okay. Okay, overall I'm liking what it looks like. Oops. Oh yeah, let's put some of this back in here. Okay. Okay, so you can see how dirty this is. I like the look of that. Okay, and this is just kind of a base layer anyway. I mean, you know, if you wanted to add, you know, dirt, maybe whoever had this gun was rolling around in the mud or whatever it is, you got to think about doing it in layers, so that you don't need to do it all in one setup. Just layer it on, just like in Photoshop. If you're doing things, just put the layers on there, and that way you can remove layers and add layers without having to destroy anything that's already there. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so that's what we have there. Now, this noise here seems a little too uniform. Let's see, what's that on? It's not on there. It might just be, so let's see. Some noise there. Some little edge wear. Yeah, so it's in here. Okay. We'll leave it like that for right now, and then we can see about it later. Okay, so this is what we're looking like here. I'm just checking the roughness value, and I don't want it to be too shiny, but I don't want it to be too dull either, because guns do have a shine to them. So, yeah, I'm okay with this, at least for right now. Again, I'm just gonna leave it and see how I feel about it. So let's do the upper receiver real quick. Let's go back to the smart materials, take our gunmetal and put it on there. Get rid of this layer. Okay, so this is what we're getting. Now, you know, depending on how you want to set it up, sometimes the rail is made from a different metal than the actual receiver itself. So if you want to, you know, have them have the two receivers be one metal and the rail be another. That's totally fine, and that is done. But I don't feel like I need to be that nitpicky about it. I'm actually kind of liking what this looks like. And again, I need to come in here, go in the mask, and let's see what, yeah, this paint layer just needs to go, and I need to make a new one. So let's add a paint. And I'm going to hide this just so I can mess with this. So in my paint layer, which I want to be between these two, I'm going to, and again, if you need to rotate the environment, if you're getting a shine where you can't see very well what's going on, then just do that. So let's start to put some of this back here. So it's not too worn away. Okay. And I'm going to hit X and shrink this down a little bit. Oops. There we go. Maybe a little down this way too. Hit X to flip it, and then just start to eat back away at it. Okay. And again, we're having the same issue with the upper rail here that we had with that forward rail. This is just too even to uniform. Just looks all the same. So hit X to flip this again. Bring up my brush. And, oh, I flipped it the wrong way. So let's put that back. And starts to fill some of this stuff back in here. It does not need to be all this worn away. You know, try to be random about it. Don't. It's very easy to get into patterns. So try to be random with it. Okay. Now, the upper rail gets a lot of stuff mounted to it, so there can probably be more wear up here than maybe you would have over there. Now, where the optic is going to be mounted is going to be right here where this dark area is. But there could have been things mounted here in the past that have now been removed. So we'll just mess with it a little bit. Okay. I like this one here. This one could probably go away there. This is a little much. But this is one of those points where this could bump into things a lot, so I'll leave quite a bit of that wear on there. Okay. Now, I want to drop my flow real low here. I'm going to hit X. And I just want to very softly wear this away here. This is your brass deflector. This is where as bullets are I shouldn't say bullets, just say casings are ejected from the gun, they bounce off here. So over time this would start to wear away. Okay, so let's bring this down, maybe increase my flow a little bit, and just start to have a little bit more harsher impacts in here. You know, we can play with that a little bit. And I might want to use sort of a brass color in there because sometimes the shell casings will leave a little bit of that brass color on there. Alright, so I'm going to leave it like that for right now. See what else here. Oops, wrong one. Let's flip it. Enlarge my brush a little bit, increase my flow, and start to put this back. Okay. Okay. All right, so take your time. Take your time and get it looking good. I may end up not liking this steel rust and wear, but we'll see. Maybe if I drop the dirt intensity. See, it's got that rust on it. Might be a little much, so I might just take it way down. And I think that might be better. Okay, again, this is just preliminary. I'm not finalizing anything here. Just sort of laying things in and seeing where it's going and then making adjustments as needed. Okay, let's bring back the other receiver, see what it's looking like. Okay, if I hit tab, it's going to give me full screen. Okay, and if I shift control click, or right click and drag, I should say. Yeah, I'm not too mad at that. As a starting point, it's not bad. Let's hit tab to get out of there. Let's bring back the other things just to see how this is looking. I know the rest of them aren't textured, but let's see what we got. Okay. It's not a bad start, I think. I'm going to save here. So this file, having 10 UDIM tiles at 4K, is over 6 gigs in size. So if you go to work in Substance, you got to have a lot of hard drive space because it will start to use up a lot of it. So what? Why not? Let's do a render. So just from this render, and this is the default HDR map. The vibe I'm getting here is that this is too reflective. So the roughness is a little low. Now, it's only really happening on that upper receiver that I lowered the dirt and rust on. Down here, it's not too bad. And on the rail, so maybe I need to adjust this back up a little bit. Because now I have a bit of a mismatch between the upper and lower receivers here. And let's get out of this mode here. And again, I want to hide everything except the parts that I've started texturing. So the upper receiver one, if we go back in here, and I'm just going to increase the roughness just a little bit, and I'm going to go in the low receiver, drop my dirt intensity as well, drop the rust intensity, and just pump up that roughness just a hair. And now that I'm sitting here, I see a part I missed, which is this pin here, and then up there as well. So let me just do that real quick. Increase the flow. Okay, and then let's go to this guy. And same thing here. Let's just paint this down. It just sticks out like a sore thumb when it's just all the way around like that. It just doesn't look right. So you see we have to sort of jump around, but not too big a deal. Okay, let's do another render. Okay, so it's a little darker. Again, it's looking kind of different from the rail here. I think I might have dropped the dirt. I might have reduced the dirt a little too much. So it's a kind of, it's a constant sort of back and forth. So let's pump this back up a bit. Just do the same here. There we go. I think that'll probably be better. Yeah, okay. So, I like it now. I might dislike it later. It's just how it goes with me, back and forth. But that's okay. We'll just keep working it. I do think the rust is a little bit much. Usually people with guns, I guess, tend to... Okay, that's the top. So I might just drop the rust completely, I think. And then go into this guy, and let's do the same. Let's just kill that rust completely. People that own guns generally look after the guns. They oil them and they do all this stuff. So I'm going to drop it on the fore end as well. Just get rid of that rust, I think. I think it's too procedural looking, and it's not really doing it for me. Okay, so let's go back here. I don't know if you can hear my computer. Every time I say turn on the render, it kicks up the fan. But the renders are pretty fast. I am running 2 video cards in this system. I'm running 2 RTX 2080 Ti's. So I get pretty fast renders. And I'm just looking at the video capture on this side. Just want to make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Pretty close. I think yours might be a little dark, but I think we get the idea. So right now I'm okay with this. I'm not mad at this at all. But like I say, this is preliminary, so I'll probably be revisiting it later. Always tweaking. All right, so I'm going to call that good for now. Good starting point anyway. Save my file. And it does take a second because, again, it is a 6 GB file. So let's see, what else do we have that's metal? We have the barrel and stuff. We have our buffer tube here. we have the stock. We have the gas block and gas tube. Now these are going to be different types of metals. And we have our barrel and flash hider. Again, probably different kind of metal. And then we have all the plastic stuff. And our sight. And then also the optic. Okay. I think this is a good place to call it a day. Just look it over a little bit more. What I could do, just where's that? Here we go. Environment map. Now I've loaded up a bunch of HDRs in here. All you got to do is get some HDRs and then put them in the folder. So let me just see what this looks like in other lighting conditions. Let's go ahead and run a render. Oops. Okay. I think that's coming along nicely. The gray parts are distracting, of course, but as we start to do those up, it's going to look better and better. But I think I like what we're going. The gun is not super damaged, but it does have some wear. So I like that. I don't feel like it needs to be super crazy. Let's try a different one. Maybe something a little bit more green, just to see how that green bounces off of this shader. So the green of the trees is really, and you know, that's how it would look, right? That's yeah. Again, the roughness is still kind of bugging me a little bit. So let's start up here at the rail. Gonna go to a roughness of say 0.35. And then let's do the same here. Okay, make it a little less shiny. Let's see what we get. Just don't feel like the dirt in the shader is really doing as much as I would like. So, dirt intensity. You know, I'm going to do the dirt intensity on the upper receiver here and leave the lower receiver, excuse me, leave the lower receiver as it is just so I can compare the two. So this goes to show you that, you know, it might look good in the viewport, but the viewport doesn't really give you the final look. So you got to go in and do some renders to test. Okay, now our dirt is really showing up here on the upper receiver here. And I want to see it when we have. Okay. Yeah, so I think I've gone a little too far. So let's go down to about 0.5. Or let's do 0.45. Oops, not 45. So 0.45, and let's do this one. 0.45. And then, of course, and I forgot the shortcut to switch texture sets. I think, what is it? Alt and I don't know. Okay, that's what it was. So Control Alt and right click on whatever part you want to work on, and it'll jump to that texture set, which is really useful. I go 0.5 on the rail, just so that we're not super consistent. All right, let me save again. There we go. Yeah, I think I like this better. Okay, so it's going to be up to your taste to see what resonates with you. But for me, this is looking okay. Let's rotate the environment. Yeah. I think I'm okay with that. So these pins right here, I might actually make these more of like a chrome color. Or actually what I can do, let's try this. Just to break up this a little bit. So what we can do, and so Control Shift and right click on this. So here we are. So what I can do is have this pin here excluded from this upper layer. Okay, so with the mask selected, what I can do is come over here, or just shortcut is 4, and I can select mesh fill, and I want this color to be 0, and if I click on, maybe you're gonna work, or is it okay, you know what I'm gonna do then? I'm gonna put another paint layer. I don't know, we'll see if this will work or not. Add paint, and then let's try here we go. So now we can exclude it from the dark metal, and it'll just show the lighter metal. So I'm going to hit 1 to get out of that mode, just so I can see this. So that's sort of a more chromed out sort of steel pin on there. Let's do the same thing here. Hit 4, select this, and then hit 1. And let's do another render. Save again. Yeah, you got to save quite a bit because things will crash on you. Okay, let's render. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things that I'm probably gonna go back and forward on repeatedly over the process of texturing this rifle. So for right now, I'm going to leave it as is. We'll see how I feel about it tomorrow and the day after that, and so on and so forth. But otherwise, the actual metal here, I think, is looking pretty nice. It is pretty plain right now and just sort of uniform. Even though it is dirty, it is sort of nicked, it's exactly the same everywhere. So I do have some things that I need to do, like, which side is it? This side? Well, one of the sides, usually I think it's usually this side, will have the logo of the company that makes this particular rifle. So I got to do that, and usually it's sort of carved into the surface. So we'll do some of that. Maybe just more dirt type stuff here. A lot of the times people use oils on their guns, so they'll use oil on certain things and you'll see it sort of seeping out of different places. So I might do that. Pins around here, you know, things like that. So I might do some of that stuff. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Right now I'm just laying things in. I'm just setting the base, and then we can build it up from there. Okay, so that is, I think, a good place to leave it. And also, it's good to note that some people will actually paint their guns. So if you're like in a desert environment, you'll paint it sort of a tan color. I think it's called flat dark earth or something like that. You just paint it over, and then the nice thing about that is, you know, if you see a soldier's gun, it tends to be really worn down if he's painted it. So the original black color that was on the gun first is starting to show through under some of those painted areas. As the paint's starting to wear away, the black is coming through, and then there's the underlying metal or steel, aluminum, whatever it is, underneath. So you sort of have 3 layers of wear, which can give some pretty nice effects. I'm not going to go that route here, but that is definitely something to think about. But I'm liking what we have here. Let me get something less green. This I got this from HDRI Haven Cave Entry Forest, and most of my HDRs I get from there. This one is very green, as you can see. I wouldn't set up, you know, I wouldn't do your texturing with something like this, because this green is just, it's contaminating your colors. So use something a little less crazy. You know, you got to be careful. Even this one here, you can see that it's putting some colors in there, but it's not bad. It's bright enough that it's probably okay. And I forget what the default one is, but it's in here somewhere, I think. Oh, I think it was called Panorama. Maybe. There it is. Okay, so that's the default. So I tend to like this one, but sometimes I will change it up as needed. So this is what we got. I think it's coming along nicely. So I think I'm going to call the video here, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I add more videos and things like that. And I will see you in the next video. We'll continue with this, work on some of the other parts. All right, so have fun, do some cool stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.